What's up, my good people, and welcome back in to the Bully Boss Show on Sparks TV. I'm your host, Nino Sparks, aka the Mid Range Bully. Good video for you today. Figured we couldn't end the weekend without talking about the news, the biggest news in sports, definitely in basketball, and that's Karl-Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks in exchange for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. Now, this is a win-win for both teams, people, and I'm here to break it all down like a fraction. But as always, before we get started, if it's your first time tapping in, or maybe you've been tapped in, tap that like, tap that subscribe, tap that notification bell, stay tapped in. Let's get this shit. Okay, now, I told y'all, my New York Knicks, my Eastern Conference team, was gonna get something done. Now, you knew they were gonna probably make some sort of move. Randall at the 5 after Mitchell Robinson went down. That wasn't gonna cut it. Even if they do play small at some point during the basketball game, to try to do that for the entirety of the basketball game and basically most of the season, that wasn't really gonna work out. But you also knew that Randall, OG, it was getting a little crowded in that front court, right? Or excuse me, at the wing, or however you want to play it, at that 4 spot. So something was going to happen. I definitely didn't see it happening this soon. I think they're probably having like their media day or some shit tomorrow. Training camp is right there. We basically a couple of weeks away from preseason, and the season is right around the corner. So I definitely didn't see a move happening right away, right now, especially not Karl-Anthony Towns. I guess this had been spoken about. It had been in the work, definitely probably behind the scenes, but man, this is a big move for the Knicks, and it's a big move for the T-Wolves first, but I want to talk about the Knicks, right? Because you got certain people saying things that it's not a big enough move and that they're going to be compromised on defense. I think if there's anything that you can say, if there's any caveat, I would say losing Dante DiVincenzo. That to me would have been the deal breaker. I will give you whatever picks we got plus Julius Randle, but DiVincenzo is off limits. But in that same breath, what was they gonna do with DiVincenzo? You was gonna have him coming off of your bench. He's become a starter. Josh Hart, he's more suited to start because, in my opinion, he's the better defender and he's the better scorer. He can do a little bit of everything. Josh Hart, you seen he basically ran the show, at times with Villanova when he was in college. He played a lot of different positions in his career, and he can guard a lot of different positions. I think he can guard more positions than DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo can guard the 1 and the 2, if we're being honest. Josh Hart could damn near guard he can guard 1 through 4 damn near. He can't guard a player like AD or big guys like that. But all them other dudes, them stretch 4s and guys that are really 3s but playing the 4, he can get at. So I'm not mad at it. I think definitely if you the T-Wolves, that would have been the thing. Like, hey, that's a deal breaker for us if we can't have DiVincenzo. Because that's definitely a player that they needed, definitely a player that they obviously wanted. And as far as Karl-Anthony Towns himself, a lot of people are, talking about what he can't do, on the defensive end, and can he be the anchor of the defense and all of that extra shit. That's not why they brought him there. They got 4 guys that can guard at a high level. I just told you Josh Hart can guard 1 through 4. So that's not, they brought him there to be a scorer, to do what he does, to be a guy that can damn near give you 20 and 19. You know what I'm saying? 20 and 10 on a nightly basis for sure. You can book that. And yeah, I know we're down on him just like D'Angelo Russell, and when it comes to the playoffs, we see these guys kind of fade out, but it's the thing that's not being talked about. Karl-Anthony Towns has played his whole career in the Western Conference. And in the Western Conference this season, he would probably be the 4th or 5th best center. Let's keep it real. You got Nikola Jokic, the reigning MVP. You got Anthony Davis, the second best. You got Wemby, Shit, Sabonis. That's four right there that you're not better than. Now Sabonis, you can probably, if you want to say he better than Sabonis, cool. And then you still got guys like Chet Holmgren coming. Laurie Marketing, who plays more of the four, but him. You still got guys like that. In the Eastern Conference, it's Joel Embiid, and then it's Karl-Anthony Towns. Is Karl-Anthony Towns better than Brook Lopez? Yes. Is he better than Evan Mobley and Jared Allen? Yes. Is he better than Miles Turner? Yes. Who else we got? That's it. Shit, if you want to say Bam Adebayo, I think he better than Bam. As good as Bam is, and I'm a Bam fan, but he can't do what Karl-Anthony Towns can do. He can't shoot the rock like Karl-Anthony Towns can shoot. Post up from either side. Hooks. Just told you, dude, can give you 20 and 19. Easy. His problem is what he does in the playoffs. And I don't think on this team he's going to be asked to do as much because it's the Jalen Brunson show. And then Mikal Bridges is going to turn it up. And then he's going to be the third guy on this team where, as in Minnesota, he's being asked to be that second guy. Sometimes the number one. Maybe he'd be better suited in this role, like Aaron Gordon was suited better in his role with the Nuggets, instead of averaging 20 and 10 or whatever he was averaging in Orlando and it meaning nothing. You see what it looked like when he got in a better role with better players. That can be the case here as well. Shit, I forgot. I just thought Porzingis. He's better than Porzingis. So, as far as the East goes, I think the Knicks I already had them as the second best team in the Eastern Conference. They might have just solidified themselves as the number one team in the Eastern Conference. I think this is going to work off the rip. It ain't even going to be no learning process, none of that. The pick and pop with Jalen, oh my goodness, the pick and pop with Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. You heard it here first. The pick and pop with Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson might be the best in the league, not just this season, but for seasons to come. Because now you're going to have to pick your poison. Now, when he's coming off of that pick, instead of being able to drop back because it's Mitchell Robinson or it's Julius Randle, who you don't really fear at the three, because he shoots like he's a 33%er, if I'm not mistaken, 33%er. Karl-Anthony Towns, that's what he do. And getting downhill, that's what Jalen Brunson does. So now you're either leaving a wide open three or a lane to the basket. And now when he kicks out, he's kicking to Mikal Bridges, who can shoot it. He's kicking to Josh Hart, who can shoot. OG, who can shoot. Now we get to see what a real 5-out offense is going to look like. And on the defensive end, all he got to do is block shots, buddy. That's all you got to do is block shots. Because you're not putting him on an island like you would do with Rudy Gobert, like you could do with Mitchell Robinson. You got OG on the wing. Mikal Bridges. That alone is going to be a problem. And Jalen Brunson. This is a team that can guard straight up. They can guard man the whole game. They don't even got to go zone. Because if you're playing Boston, now you like what you got. You can put Josh Hart on Drew Holiday. You can put Brunson on Derek White. Mikal Bridges, I would put him on Jaylen Brown. OG on Tatum. And then I like my chances with Cat on Porzingis. Or excuse me, Porzingis is going to be out, so it'll be Cat versus Al Horford. You shitting me? That's going to be Celtics and Knicks. I got Knicks first game. Knicks going to get in their ass all season. You could book it. And as far as the Timberwolves, oh, they might have just took that number 1 seed from Oklahoma. Because Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, what you just did was you took 2 dogs and you added them to your dog kennel. And we ain't talking about wolves, we talking about pit bulls. And Rudy Gobert, he's not in there. I'm talking about Ant-Man and Jaden McDaniels. You adding Julius Randle and DiVincenzo to that mix. Mike Conley at some point is going to be coming off the bench. Maybe not to start the season. Maybe not to start, he'll still start games. But DiVincenzo is going to be in that starting lineup. You could book it. And that might be the best defensive team in the league. Or in the West. Because between Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo, and Ant-Man, and then you got Rudy Gobert, who's the defensive player of the year. You know, you don't win the thing a few times. I keep saying I don't see it, not to disrespect him, but the games that I watch, he gets played off the floor. Last time I seen him in an NBA game, Luka was getting in his ass. Let's call it what it is. But he's the defensive player of the year. You got that? That should be the number 1 defense. It's at least going to be a top 3 defense for sure. Off the rip. And people saying they going the spacing and all of that. Yeah, that's Rudy Gobert's going to get played off the floor in most games anyway, like I just said. Naz Reid is the better fit next to Randle. Because now you can really play 5 out. They don't operate in the same space. And now Ant-Man has another guy who's gonna go get buckets. Randle is gonna get buckets no matter what. If he's on the floor, he's getting buckets. That's not a guy who's gonna fade in the playoffs. I like what the T-Wolves did. I really do. It's going to look nice. The pick and pop with him and Randle is going to look nice. Because the same thing with Jalen Brunson and Cat. Because now you got Ant coming downhill, or he can dub it back out. Kind of like a play similar to what LeBron and AD run, where they kind of run it at the elbow, where you're either giving up the mid-range jumper, that kick back out. You know, Randle likes that little step back jumper, or you're going to give an open lane to the basket. And Ant-Man is probably the best finisher in the league. But we're going to see what it all looks like on paper. I think this is a win-win for both teams. I don't think anybody lost in this. People saying that both teams got worse, you must not be watching basketball. Because, yeah, Randle, he's not as good as a shooter as Cat. But he can score. And he's actually more suited and more of what they needed. And Dante DiVincenzo, he just proved that he can shoot with the best of them. So that covers up that loss. Maybe he doesn't shoot as consistently or as good as Cat. I think Cat might be the best big man shooter of all time as far as when it comes to shooting threes and shit. But he can shoot. Dante DiVincenzo can shoot. And he can lock up on the other end. So I think the T-Wolves, they might have just solidified themselves as the 1 seed. I'm always going to run with my team, the Lake Show. But the T-Wolves, they definitely just punched their ticket to be in the top 3 a top 5 for sure team in the Western Conference. And they might be on their way back to a Western Conference Finals. That's how good of a move this was. Now, we still gonna have to see how it all plays out. You know, what the fit looks like with Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle. Like I said, I expect Rudy Gobert, his minutes will probably go down, and he might be disgruntled about that, and maybe he ends up being the odd man out because Nas Reed is there to stay, Ant-Man is there to stay, and now Julius Randle is there to stay. Those are the guys they're going to be building around, along with a Jaden McDaniels. But they just did what the Thunder did, and they just made their window a lot larger. Now they went from having a 3-year window to probably a 5-year window of being a top team in the Western Conference and having a chance to make it to the finals. I don't know if they could win the whole thing, you know, but they definitely just took a step forward. And so did the Knicks. The Knicks for sure. But that's all I got for free. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Who was the bigger winner in this thing? Was it the T-Wolves? You know, did the Knicks give up too much? Now their depth is compromised. I think they're going to need one more guy. They're going to need a bona fide 6-man. What does that look like? You know, maybe if I had to pick a player, maybe they could hope for the Clippers to, you know, have a rocky start and then they start getting off of players. Can you get a Norman Powell? That would be a perfect guy. What would you have to give up? Can you just give up some picks? If you got any left, you gave up a lot from Mikal Bridges. But they're going to need a 6-man at some point. Maybe not right away, but at some point they're going to need something. And on the flip side, with the Wolves, what's the fit going to look like? Is Rudy Gobert, is it going to be weird to the point where you're playing Nas Reed more? Or are they going to hit the ground running? I think Randall is just what the doctor ordered as far as pairing somebody with Ant-Man. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Who was the bigger winner? Was there, you know, did they get better? Did they get worse? What do y'all think? I'm going to tap back in later. Peace.